So everybody, Mom Vernon Kid is once again coming back to you with Opinion Spot, and for the final week ends the last day of Opinion Spot week, and as you know guys, I've been talking about some of the great cartoons of the past and that are comic related. Now the last one I'm going to talk about, we're going back to the land of DC, and I have a special guest with me that's going to talk about Static Shock with me. So, without further ado, I'd like everybody to meet Sick Rick Josephs.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, so he's gonna help me out. This is the first time ever, so we're gonna communicate on Static. So, Rick, I'll start off with you. What was some of your fondest memories and everything you loved about this show?
Static Shock?
Yes.
Well, I remember watching it, each day when I came home from school, back when I was in elementary, it was like 8 or 9. I actually thought it was really cool. I'd never really seen, a superhero that wasn't your typical teenage white or adult male. And it was kind of a shock to me. And then, I started watching it religiously, and I still love the show. And a few years ago, it was actually, all the episodes are on YouTube. So over like 3 weeks, I just refreshed myself. It was a great show.
So basically, the series, guys, really focused on Static, Virgil Hawkins, who was this young kid from Dakota. That was the name of the city, and he is exposed to this gas, which they call the Big Bang. Now, they pretty much still kept that content from the comics, and in retrospect, Virgil gained electrical powers. So he had basically electrical manipulation powers. He can do a lot of things with his abilities. Now his best friend Richie Foley basically knew his secret, and he told Richie everything. And it also had, like Dwayne McDuffie always said, that Static was always inspired with a little bit of Spider-Man. So you can kind of see where Virgil and Peter Parker can intertwine, and you can relate to them. I think from them being very essential in school, as well as when Peter will become Spider-Man and Virgil will become Static, they can let themselves go, and it was a little bit more easier for. Yeah. Alright, so after that, guys, so basically, Rick, what were some of your favorite episodes of the show? Time to go.
I had a lot of favorites, but one that really stands out is the episode Consequences.
Okay.
I know you've seen it. You know how Static's always kind of the Spider-Man-esque kid, in front of the villains as he pummels them?
Right.
Yeah, well, this time, him being kind of a show up for his girlfriend Daisy, and she, due to an accident, ends up getting hit with some debris and ends up in a coma. And, Static, woe is me, it's my fault I did this to her. And he gets grims, that man serious, and goes after the people who caused this.
I remember that episode. That was a really good episode right there. Okay, Consequences, that was a really good episode. I remember that episode very well. Pretty much they always throw in an episode like that where maybe a young hero, starts to show off and try to impress a girl, and I remember that vividly because that episode he was chasing Puff in that episode. Puff was two of the only characters in the show that were actually from the comics. Her and Hot Streak were the only two from the comics, the original comics. Everybody else was pretty much made up.
No, Tarmac.
Yeah,
it's from the Static Shock.
Yeah, he was correct too. But one of my favorite episodes, I think, that really stood out for me was an episode called Jimmy. That was a really good episode where it was mainly about bullying and the consequences of bullying and gun control and things like that. He was being bullied. This boy named Jimmy was being bullied, and to the extreme, and he found his father's gun and he brought it to school and he threatened to shoot the bully who basically would not stop picking on him. And retrospect, the gun fell and it shot Richie in the leg. That was a really good episode. A lot of the episodes in this series had a moral to it as well. That was really good for. Sorry.
Yeah, actually,
Go ahead. What was you saying?
I think that episode, Jimmy, if I'm not mistaken, that one actually won an Emmy Award.
Yeah, that did. That won a daytime Emmy.
This show really packed like a message.
Yeah, it did. It was really good, so to speak. And then they started to really cross over a lot of the heroes. I think around maybe the second season, that's when you started to really see that Static was really involved in the DC animated universe. I mean, we saw him. The first guest star was Batman and Robin. I
think the first episode of season 2, Joker came to Dakota.
Right, he came into Dakota. That was really good. And we got him crossing over with the Justice League. All right, so like we were saying, they had a lot of guest stars. We said Batman and Robin. Then Batman came back with the Justice League. Some of the members, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter, and Flash. And that, what was the name of that title? The episode with the Justice League, Justice was really good. I really enjoyed that episode. And of course, Superman guest starred in an episode later on, which was fun. That kind of continued had continuity with when Doll Man was still after Toy Man was after the character known as Darby, who wanted to switch her body into Daisy, which was interesting. Out of all the villains, Rick, who was your favorite villain?
Out of all the villains?
Yeah.
I really gotta go with Sex and Trapper. I like those two. They were such, cocky guys. And they could definitely back up their mouths.
Okay. Yeah, they were good. For me, I thought Ebon was good, and then when we got to find out that Ebon and Rubber Band Man were brothers, that was interesting.
That threw me for a loop when I was a kid.
Yeah, that was interesting. I guess, Hot Streak was always good. That was fun. When he finally was exposed as a Bang Baby, how did you feel about that? Like him becoming Gear?
I like that. I always had that feeling like Richie was kind of the Alfred to Virgil's Bruce. And, he was a confidant, but he didn't have anything to back himself up. Like, he could easily be used as a pawn and get kidnapped. So now when he, got his own power, and he had some of the tech that he built, he was sort of like a low-rent Iron Man. And he was actually a pretty decent at Static. I mean, he saved Static in that episode when he got captured by the Bang Babies in that detention center that Ebon used to go to.
Yeah, that was the episode when they tried to figure out if Static was, Virgil and Static were the same. That was a good episode. What about the episode when Virgil went into the future and was with Terry McGinnis?
I really like that episode. It's the classic, I can't believe you're such a famous hero in the future because you're such a screw-up now. Mm-hmm. But then, at the end of the episode, he sees that there's more to Virgil than he thought. But, I mean, I like that episode because I love me some Batman Beyond, and I was kind of fun when that show ended, but bang, there's Terry McGinnis right here in Static Shock. And I got to see two of my favorite characters in two different shows interacting. Yeah,
that was great. I thought it was funny when Virgil saw Richie as Gear in the future, and then he came back to the present, and he's like, you got to cut off all the burgers, because Richie kind of was a little bit bigger there. Not muscular-wise, but let's say robust. All right, so guys, I know you're probably hearing a lot of technical difficulties, and we apologize about that. So, we're going to get Rick's final thought, overall view of the Static Shock as a whole, and then I'm going to just wrap it up myself, finish it off. So, Rick, overall, like, as a show, how did you feel about it?
I have to say this was probably my favorite of all the shows in the DCAU.
Okay.
This was. I actually like Static Shock a bit more than Spider-Man. I mean, there's a lot more to Static. I know he is a takeoff on Peter Parker, but he has some things that Peter lacks. You know, he's got a friend. Peter had no rivalry with his sister Sharon. I love his dad. His dad is great. He's caring. He can be stern. And in the end, when he sort of figured out Static's identity, he was, kind of cool with it. And there was a good, solid dynamic with all the characters, even the villains in the show. I don't think anybody was ever a one note or fell flat, except for, Shaq's episode.
Okay.
That one was kind of weak.
Yeah, I think when Rick's talking about, he's talking about all the guest stars, the celebrities. I thought, I didn't care too much for those. But as always, guys, I just wanted to thank Rick for coming on and minorly doing this. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but I want to thank SRJ for doing this with me.
Thank you, man. This is a trip, man.
Other than that, guys, we're gonna really sign off. But overall, like I said, Static. This was a really good show. It lasted 4 seasons, 52 episodes. Fortunately, it is not on DVD yet. It's on iTunes, but Warner Brothers does say they do want to get it out on DVD and everything like that. So I pray they do, because I would love to get this added to my collection. And I also got to give a lot of respect to all the voiceover actors who voiced on there. I mean, everybody did a fantastic job as well. But as always, guys, thanks for listening. What did you guys think of Static as a whole? And thank you for listening. As always, this is Marvin and Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real as always. Opinion Swap Week is over, and Opinion Spot will go back to its regular minor bi-weekly dating again, guys. But other than that, this is Marvin and Kid and Sick Rich Joseph. Thanks for listening, guys.